You helped our Friendly Visitors Volunteer Program when you gave to United Way.
United Way.
For all of you who hated Love Story, it's Married with Children, tonight at 8:30 on Channel 2.
Candy Maldonado and Bob Melvin with the big hits at Busch Stadium yesterday. Melvin drove in the Giants' first 2 runs, and Maldonado the game winner in the 9th inning. This afternoon, the Giants try and even their series with St. Louis by sending Rick Russell against Jose De Leon.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time to play ball. Today, live from Busch Memorial Stadium in St. Louis, the Giants take on the Cardinals.
There it is. See you later. 1-0 San Francisco.
Today's game is brought to you in part by Budweiser, Peachwood Age for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. And by United Airlines, the official airline of the San Francisco Giants.
The throw is offline. Here's the way. There he goes. They have thrown him out. Throw is over the top.
Today's game is also brought to you by Toyota, makers of quality cars and trucks. Who could ask for anything more? And by Chevron and high-octane Chevron Supreme. Join Steve Physiak, Ron Fairley, and Dwayne Piper for all the action. Next, right here on Channel 2.
This is Busch Stadium in St. Louis, site of Game 4 of this 4-game series between the San Francisco Giants and St. Louis Cardinals. Hi, everybody. I'm Steve Physiak along with Ron Fairley and Dwayne Kuiper, and the Giants will try for a series split in this 4-game set. Now, St. Louis won the first 2 games on Thursday and Friday, but the Giants came back yesterday for an exciting 6-5 victory. It was Candy Maldonado who drove home the game winner in the 9th inning, sending Brett Butler home from second base as he singled up the middle, and Butler scored on the play. 6-5 the final score. The Giants won the game. Now, they need a victory today to win 2 and lose 2 in this series. Right now, Ron Fairley is with the guy who got the game winner, Candy Maldonado. Let's go to him now.
We're visiting with the Candy Man, one of the heroes for the Giants in yesterday's victory over the St. Louis Cardinals. And Candy, it looks like you're starting to swing the bat the way we know that Candy Maldonado can swing it.
Well, Ron, I feel very happy, especially after those 3 days, even so that I didn't want to be out of the lineup. But I think it meant a lot. I worked with Jose the last 3 days that I was out, hitting the ball the other way, and staying with the ball a little longer, and the second half paid off for the first 2 days that I'm back in the lineup.
You have now 5 hits the last 2 ball games. You know, sometimes when you're put in that number 4 position, it's a magic position in that it seems like everyone says, okay, I'm the number 4 hitter, so therefore I have to hit the ball out of the ballpark. That's not Candy Maldonado. You're a better hitter when you hit the ball into right center.
You're right about that. I think I made a big mistake at the beginning of this year, and I think that's one of the reasons why mechanically I was having a lot of problems in this first part of the season. I was trying to hit home runs, and I'm not a home run hitter. I definitely know that I can hit the ball out of the ballpark, but my game is basically, you know, hitting the ball the other way, and when I pull the ball, basically it's in left center.
Mm-hmm. Now, let's talk a little bit about hitting, because like you say, you've been working with Jose Morales. What have you been working on?
Well, basically stay with the ball a little longer, not trying to jump ahead of the pitch instead of thinking that the ball is going to be inside and trying to protect the outside. It's been a big mistake. I'd rather think that I'm going to go the other way, and I can adjust it as an inside pitch, even so it looks funny and it sounds funny to adjust outside pitch or hit the inside pitch. But you've been in baseball and you know what I'm trying to say. It's not easy when you're trying to just to concentrate on inside pitch and then you have to react outside.
You know, one of the things that I like to look at, and I watch hitters from time to time, and that is the way they hold on to the bat. Now, you like to stay down on the knob of the bat, down the very bottom of the bat, up until 2 strikes. Now, this is the normally way you do it. And I noticed that your knuckles, you have these lined up about halfway in the here, and you don't get this hand too far around on top. What do you do? Do you do anything any different when you have 2 strikes?
Well, when I have 2 strikes, I like to choke up a little bit. Not much, you know, maybe half an inch just to have a little more control in what I want to do. With 2 strikes, I just want to put the ball in play and protect that outside pitch and the slide of the forkball and everything they throw.
Yeah. You don't lose any power doing that, do you?
It's amazing because, you know, there's been a lot of times where with 2 strikes I've been hitting a lot of home runs, and Secondly, I don't know why sometimes we get in a bad habit of holding the bat all the way down, and then with 2 strikes, you can choke up.
Candy, good luck to you today. Go out there, nail down a victory, and then get ready for those Dodgers coming in on Monday.
That'll be the surprise. Right
Okay.
there.
Good luck to you, pal. Candy Maldonado. Let's go back to Steve Fiziak.
Thanks, Ron. You know, this has also been a very difficult season for Bob Melvin. He started the year as the team's starting catcher, and then all of a sudden was sent down to Phoenix after he could not get that average over the 200 level. But yesterday, he was one of the stars. He had 3 hits. He drove in the team's first 2 runs, and San Francisco, of course, won that ball game 6-5. Well, Bob Melvin, the team's starting catcher today, is with Dwayne Kuiper. Let's go to them now.
I'm with Bob Melvin, one of the stars in yesterday's game. Bobby, 3 for 4, a couple of RBIs. And 2 of those RBIs came on a couple of tough 2-out base hits. Nice job.
Thanks. You know, he pitched me a certain way. I had a little trouble with him in the past, and he pretty much stays away from me. When he gets ahead, he throws breaking balls. So, you know, just tried to stay back as best I could and take the ball back up the middle.
You had to make a tough trip this year to Phoenix, and I don't remember, it was a couple of weeks, but I'm sure that it seemed a lot longer than that.
Oh, yeah. It seemed like a full year, actually. I think it was 3 weeks, a little over, and I just went down there and tried to work as hard as I can and work on my hitting and make some adjustments, and seemed to work out.
Now, that all happened after you had been in the big leagues for 3 years straight, and I'm sure that that's a tough pill to swallow, but psychologically, you just have to make the move.
Yeah, definitely. It is a little tough to swallow, but, you know, the worst thing you can do is go down and sulk and have a bad attitude. So, you know, you go down there and try to get the best out of it and hopefully get back as soon as possible.
When you're down in Phoenix, you check the box scores close?
Not at first. At first, I tried not to look at it at all just because, you know, you want to take care of yourself and not worry about anybody else. But then when started rolling a little bit and I heard there was some, you know, some changes were going to be made and I might come back, and then I started following a little more.
And you went down there with the purpose of working on your hitting, and you come back with 3 base hits last night. Is there anything that you can tell us that you've done different since you made that trip?
Well, the first thing is confidence. You have to have confidence as a hitter, and I'd go into a game, and if I struck out my first time or didn't hit a ball hard, I'd get what they call get your dauber down a little bit, and that's the worst thing you can do. So, you know, I try to stay positive and take each at bat and each pitch as it comes, and you stay back, like I said, a little more. I had a little trouble getting out front, and, you know, just be positive all the time.
Let's talk a little bit about the ball club that the Giants have played the past 3 days, the St. Louis Cardinals. You're the catcher, and you know these guys can run. That puts a lot more pressure on you, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. You know that's their game, and they're going to run, whether they're up, whether they're down. It doesn't matter. They're going to run. And, you know, you just got to try to stay within yourself. Sometimes you can't throw them out. You know, guys get there too quick. A guy might have a big leg kick or something like that, and you just got to stay within yourself and make sure if a guy does steal a base, you go out there and let the pitcher know, you know, he didn't score. He's still got to make an out, and, you know, just try to keep your mind off them. But that's their game, and, you know, they're going to run regardless, and that's why they're successful, is because they're a real fast team on this turf here, and that's their game.
With Big Daddy pitching, he can help you out a little bit, can't he?
Definitely. He's the best. He gets the ball to the catcher in the quickest time and on the team and maybe even in the league. So, you know, that's one thing as a catcher you're looking for as a team like this, as a pitcher, to get you a ball and give you a chance to throw somebody out, and Big Daddy definitely does that.
Thanks, Bobby.
All right.
We'll be back with more of the pregame show right after this.
One of the biggest drawbacks in today's performance is the sluggishness caused by dirty intake systems. So we developed Chevron Supreme, the high-octane gasoline with tech relief. No additive cleans entire intake systems better. Now you'll be free to move ahead without any drawbacks. Chevron, we fuel your freedom.
It only happens once a year, so it's big. And Toyota is closing more truck deals than ever. On the top of big factory-to-dealer incentives, special 4x4 options packages can also save you big money on options like chrome bumpers, mild steel wheels, tinted glass.
For a really big 4x4 deal,
Splendid.
Toyota's really big sales event.
Welcome back to Busch Stadium for the final game of this series between the Giants and the St. Louis Cardinals. Temperature right now at game time 85 degrees, and they expect it to get right around the low to mid-90s today, so it will be a hot one out there on the field for all of the players involved in this afternoon's game. Let's take a look at the standings as we get ready for the opening game of this final game of this series. In the National League West, the Dodgers are on top by 5 full games over the Houston Astros. San Francisco 7 games back. They need a victory today as they get ready for that big series with the Dodgers coming up on Monday. Then Cincinnati Reds 9.5 games back. The Padres and then the Atlanta Braves.
The most surprising thing, Ron, is the fact that the Astros have come back and they have now won 6 straight. The Dodgers have won 2 straight. And because of the fact that the Giants have had a tough road trip, the Astros have been able to sneak back in the race.
They certainly have. Let's take a look at the National League Eastern Division standing. Mets on top by 2 games over the Pirates. The Pirates closing the gap. They're breathing down hard on the next of the Mets. Expos 9 games out. Looks like it's just a two-team race there.
Yeah, and the surprise, of course, in this division would be the team that the Giants are playing today, and that's the St. Louis Cardinals. I don't think anybody believed that they would be 15 games back at this point in the season. But I think you have to look at the overall injuries that they've gone through, with the fact that Horner and Pendleton both have gone down. And when you lose a couple of those guys, it's going to be a struggle.
Let's take a look at some of the leaders in the National League. You can see that Gerald Terry of the Atlanta Braves on top of that .331 average. And Tony Gwynn sticking up. You know what he is here in the recent ball games? 39 for 76. I'd say he is hot.
Well, there was a point at the season when I know a few of us said some ball clubs are going to pay when he gets hot. And judging by what you just said, he is hitting over 500 in that span, and he's going to continue to do that. He may very well lead the league in hitting, and if you remember, he was probably only hitting around 340 about a month ago.
As far as home run leaders, you can see that Strawberry's still on top with 24. Will Clark third with 21 home runs, and Andres Galarraga, along with Will Clark, having a fine year.
Bill Strawberry is really starting to prove that he is one of the superstars, and he's going to continue to be that for a long time. Glenn Davis, you know, if it's not for Glenn Davis, those Houston Astros probably wouldn't even be in the race, and I suppose you could say the same thing about Will Clark.
As far as the RBI leaders are concerned, you just mentioned, you talked about Glenn Davis of the Houston Astros. 74 RBIs, Will Clark second at 71, and you said those teams very, very similar. If Clark or Davis do not drive in runs, those teams have a rough time winning.
That's right, but the guy that's third, Andy Van Slyke, an original St. Louis Cardinal, and then the man behind him, Bobby Bonilla. You know, that about says it all for what the Pittsburgh Pirates have done. And they just have come on strong, and you can thank those 2 guys right there, along with some pretty good young arms, for the Pirates only being a couple of games back of the New York Mets.
You know, pitching is such an important part of any baseball team. And, of course, the ERA, you take a look right there, you have Perez of the Expos on top right now. And what a year that Greg Maddux is having. Of course, the Giants, the only team to beat that guy twice this year.
Ron, all those guys are new. I mean, usually you'll see in that list the Goodens and the Ryans. You know, how do you figure Perez to be on top? Greg Maddux, coming off a year last year that was just so-so. Cohen for the Mets. He's the ace of their staff, and they got a bunch of outstanding quality pitchers over in that organization. And Rijo and Leary and Martinez, the guy that they got off the scrap pile. I think that's good for baseball to see some new players coming in and taking over the league in the pitching department.
As far as wins are concerned, you have Maddux of the Cubs on top with 15, and then you have a bunch of guys tied for third. And one of them in particular, let's zero in on him a little bit, Rick Russell of the Giants.
Well, it's nice to see new guys in the ERA. These guys here have been there before, with probably the exception of Maddux. Jackson coming over from the Kansas City Royals, but Rick Russell, probably the dean of that list. This will be his 21st start. And I think the thing you got to like about Rick Russell is the fact that he does not look like the type of guy that's going to go out and win possibly 20 games. And he's got a shot to do that this year. And certainly for us and for Giants fans, the Giants are going to need that.
As far as strikeouts are concerned, on top, that's really no surprise. Nolan Ryan of the Houston Astros. But the number 2 guy is facing the San Francisco Giants today, Jose De Leon with 120.
And he's already beaten the Giants once already this year. He has 120 strikeouts in 129 innings, so you could almost say that he just about strikes out one guy per inning. And he's going to be a tough cookie. The last time out against the Giants, he struck out 10 in only 6+ innings.
I guess you can take a look at the St. Louis Cardinal team when we look down the save list with Worrell on top with 19, and one would have to think if he was not having the kind of year. I know that the Cardinals are 15 games out right now, but boy, look where they would be if it wasn't for Todd Worrell.
And he went through a period of about a month where he was in a pitching slump. You're right, if it weren't for Worrell, it's hard to figure what Whitey Herzog would do. I suppose he would probably use Daly a lot more. But Franco, that's not a surprise. Bedrosian, of course, the Cy Young Award winner last year. Former San Francisco Giant, Mark Davis, he's in that list. And then Jim Gott, who went over to the Pittsburgh Pirates from the San Francisco Giants. He's also having a fine season.
Well, we're about ready to get this game underway. We'll be back in just a moment.
Somewhere, right now, there's a clean, crisp, ice cold, beechwood aged Budweiser with your name on it.
We carry about 40 different sizes. We carry a full range of shorts. We carry a full range of extra longs. We carry suits and sport coats up to size 54. We carry pants to waist size 50. We carry shirts with a 19 neck. The reason we carry all of these sizes is so that 99.9% of the men who come into the men's warehouse will be able to find products in their size.
Get a shot of Roger Craig, the skipper for the San Francisco Giants. It has been a tough road trip for the Giants. They come into this game with a 3-7 record. That's not exactly what Roger had in mind. Let's run down the starting lineups for this afternoon's game. First of all, for the Giants, it will be Brett Butler leading off and playing center field. Batting second, Chris Spire today, and he'll be at second base. Clark at first base. Maldonado, one of the heroes in yesterday's game, in the cleanup spot. In left field, Mike Aldrete. Batting sixth at third base, Ernest Riles, who had a big double for the Giants yesterday. Melvin with a great afternoon. Doing the catching, had 3 hits in the game yesterday and 2 big RBIs, and Jose Uribe at shortstop. And on the mound, the right-hander, Rick Russell. So on the mound for the Cardinals today will be the big right-hander, Jose De Leon. He's 27 years of age and his 4th really full Major League season. 6'3", 215 pounds, making his 21st start of the year. And this year, he has made 1 appearance against the Giants, and he won that ball game. In fact, he won over Dave Dravecki 5-1 at Candlestick Park. Cardinals have won 2 games. The Giants have won 1. And a victory today, I think, would put the Giants in a pretty good frame of mind as they get ready for that big series starting tomorrow night at Candlestick Park against the Los Angeles Dodgers. Whitey Herzog going down the lineup and up and down the bench and checking his lineup card to make sure he has it correct. Defensively, Here a way that the Cardinals will line themselves. Mike Logg at first base, Jose Oquendo at second, Ozzie Smith at shortstop, Pendleton at third, Coleman in left, McGee in center, Ford in right field, Pena behind the plate, and as we mentioned, the big right-hander on the mound is Jose De Leon. Well, we're ready to get this game underway, and to lead things off, here's Dwayne Kuiper.
Thanks, Ron Fairley. It'll be Brett Butler leading off, and he takes a fastball high, 1-0. Butler was 2 for 5 yesterday with 2 RBIs. He also scored the winning run as he hit a ball down the third base line that Jose Oquendo could not come up with. They gave Oquendo an error. Some of us thought that was questionable. Had that been ruled a base hit, it would have been his 1,000th career hit in the major leagues. So because of the error, Butler still looking for that milestone. There's a call strike. 2-1 to count. As I mentioned in the pregame, De Leon on May 2nd faced the Giants. He beat them 5-1. Another call strike. 2-2. He only went 6+ innings, but he did strike out 10 San Francisco Giants. He allowed 5 hits and 1 earned run. He walked 3. 2-2 the count to Butler. Pops this one up, and it looks like it may stay in play, and Pena makes a nice running catch by the Cardinal dugout. Pop-ups can be tough in this ballpark. Bright sun.
You know, one of the things that made it a much more difficult play was that when the ball was originally popped up, Pena could not find it. And then finally he zeroed in on it and still had almost like a snow cone.
Yeah, juggled it a little bit. Here's Chris Spire. Roger Craig giving Robbie Thompson a Sunday afternoon off. Spire this season against the Cardinals is hitting .563. He's 9 for 16 with a home run and 7 RBIs. And he takes a fastball high.
Well, he banged up just a little bit. He dove for a ground ball yesterday, kind of skinned his knee up a little bit, then spiked in the ankle, and on a play at second base, so he's a little bit banged up.
Spire drives this one into right field, and it will hook foul. Ronnie also dove, as you mentioned, for a play behind second base, and he showed me his hand this morning. It would be his throwing hand, and it almost looks like his first or second degree burns. And that's what happens when you dive on this turf.
That's why I just don't care for it. There are too many ways of getting hurt playing on this stuff, but I understand why a lot of the teams have to use it.
1-1 to Spire. Fouls this one out of play. 1-2. Another thing that bothers me about turf is the fact that, all right, Robbie Thompson dives, and, you know, that's part of the game. Diving for ground balls, getting dirty. You know, he may have second thoughts about diving again. He may not. But you're taking away part of the game that is very exciting. Spire tries to check it. He does not. De Leon with his first strikeout.
Looks like Spire, right about in the middle of the swing, realizes he's going to be chasing a bad ball and tries to hold up. And sometimes that bat is just, there's too much weight behind it and too much force going, and you have to be tremendously strong in your hands to be able to hold up. And that's not an easy thing to do sometimes.
When you got a guy throwing hard out there, you have to make that split-second decision. Here's Will Clark. Fastball outside, 1-0. But my point is about the turf is you just take some of the aggressiveness away from your infielders and outfielders for that matter. Breaking ball, call strike, 1-1.
It's interesting that you mentioned that, because as an outfielder, I did not like to drive on the tarp at all. I did not mind it at all on the grass.
1-1 to Will. He lines this one down the right field line, and that will go out of play.
You know, a funny thing, excuse me, but a funny thing in this ballpark is that the ball carries very well down both lines, but when you start getting out into left center and right center, the ball doesn't carry nearly as well. So balls hit down the line, like the ball that Clark just hit there. That ball had a lot of distance to it.
Yes, it did. 1-2 to Will. Call strike 3 on the outside corner. We got 3 down for De Leon. He strikes out 2 after 1/2. Giants nothing. Cardinals coming to bat.
I'm an American winner. I got $1,000 cash back on Dodge Daytona Pacifica.
And I'm a winner with $500 cash back on Plymouth Sundance. We're American winners.
With $500 cash back on Jeep Cherokee.
Chrysler's made over 300,000 car buyers American winners. Now's your chance with America's Winners Clearance. Get $300 to $1,000 cash back on most Chrysler, Plymouth, Dodge, and Jeep Eagle models. The savings are back.
Be an American winner.
Everyone saves big at the Home Club. July 7th, a comparison of the Home Club's non-member prices with those at Target reveals big savings at the Home Club. Example, Target sells 1 gallon of Ortho Triox for $16.99. That's 29% higher than Home Club's non-member price. And Home Club members save even more. Yes, the list goes on and on because at the Home Club, you save on everything, every day.
At Chevron, we've been taking a long, hard look at ourselves.
Nice to see you again. Nice to see you again. Come back soon. Come back real soon. Hi. How are you? Hi. How are you?
And while we're the first to admit that not every station is absolutely perfect, we're working on it. Chevron, we fuel your freedom.
The lineup for the St. Louis Cardinals and Whitey Herzog today. Here's the way the skipper's going. Vince Coleman will lead off and play in left field. Ozzie Smith at shortstop. Willie McGee in center field. Mike Laga in the cleanup spot today. Pendleton at third base. Ford in right field. Oquendo at second base. Pena doing the catching, and the pitcher Jose De Leon. As you can see the lineup there, and on the mound it will be Rick Russell, going for his 13th victory of the season.
And he'll be facing Vince Coleman. Coleman coming in at 270. And there's a call strike. Big Daddy faced the St. Louis Cardinals back on May 12th. He got knocked around. He went 5 innings, 8 hits. He gave up 6 runs. That was a ball game, if you remember, as Coleman tries to bunt for a base hit. He fouls it back. That was getaway day for the Giants. It was John Tudor for the Cardinals, Rick Russell for the Giants. We all figured we'd be out of here in an hour and a half and be back in San Francisco about 2 hours earlier than scheduled. After about 4 hours of sitting here at the ballpark, it didn't work out that way.
13-12, won by the Cardinals. And you know what? When Russell came out of that game, he had about a 5-run lead.
0-2 to Coleman. Grounds this one off of Russell. Uribe trying to make the play, not in time.
Not an easy play for the pitcher. As you can see right back, and Russell has to reach across his body. Had that ball been hit on the other side, I guarantee he would have caught it, but he had to reach across his body. There's no way that Jose is going to be able to get the speed of a guy like Coleman.
Pretty good pitch that Russell threw to Coleman, down and away, and Coleman just flicked at it. That's the way these first 3 guys in the Cardinal order, they'll do that. Coleman with a good lead does not go, and it's a call strike to Ozzie Smith. Coleman with 50 stolen bases. He's been thrown out 16 times. And we've said it many times, if you want to beat the Cardinals, you have to keep these first 3 guys in their order off the bases.
Well, the Giants have not been very good at that, because that is the 14th hit for Coleman, Smith, and McGee, a combination of those 3 guys. 14 hits already.
Talked to Bob Melvin before the game, and he said that Russell is the best at holding runners on. So you may see him throw over there quite a lot. He will at least give Bob Melvin a chance to gun down Coleman. Coleman fakes a bluff in there. The ball down, 1-1. Coleman took off about 3 or 4 steps.
I think what he's doing is just practicing. See what kind of a jump he can get.
One and one to Ozzie Smith. Coleman does not go, and Ozzie hits this one down the right field line. That'll go out of play. Ozzie coming in at 280, hitting 283 left-handed, 275 right-handed. Hits this one right off the end of the bat, and it goes by third base coach Nick Leyva. The one thing that Russell is doing that he does so very well is change speeds. The 0-2 pitch to Coleman was a changeup down and away. Toss over to first, not in time.
Russell really has only 2 pitches, fastball, curveball. And he changes speeds primarily off the fastball more so than off the breaking ball. But by the way he uses it, he disguises that fastball, which really means he's got more than one type of fastball.
Coleman goes, and Smith fouls it. We've seen Vince Coleman attempt to steal a lot of bases this series. Of all the jumps that he has had, that was not his best jump. Now, one thing that Rick Russell does is he doesn't lift his front leg off the ground very high when he goes to home plate. He just picks it up a little bit and sets it back down. Coleman goes. Ozzie Smith hits this one in the right field. Candy coming in hard, and does he catch it? Yes, he does. Fine play by Candy Maldonado in right field. We talked about not wanting or liking the dive on this turf. Candy did it anyway, and he comes up with an outstanding play.
We talked about diving for the ball. Watch when he hits how hard he bounces, but what a tremendous catch that he makes. Bang, there's the bounce. As you can see, he gets jarred pretty good. I'm surprised landing that hard, he was still able to catch on, hold on to it.
I am
so
too.
It must have hit him in the perfect part of the glove.
Nice play, Candy Maldonado.
You know, Dwayne, when you make a play like that, if that ball does not hit you perfectly in the pocket, there's no way you're going to hold on to it.
Has to hit that soft part in the pocket in order to stay there. Even if it gets caught in the web, a lot of times it will flip right out of there. Here's Willie McGee. Russell will still have to worry about Vince Coleman at first. McGee grounds this one to Spire. Could be 2 to Uribe to first. Double play. So the Giants turn double play number 90. After 1 full inning, we have no score.
The Clydesdales, the symbol of Budweiser quality. A Beechwood aging, the choicest natural ingredients, and a genuine commitment to freshness and taste. One beer lives up to all this. Budweiser.
McDonald's has a great new chicken sandwich.
Just one? They ought to make more than that. Might catch on.
No, not just one.
Good. I'd like to try it.
Great. Take it from me.
Generous of you. Thanks.
I didn't mean...
All white breast meat, light crispy coating, and a zesty sauce. This is terrific.
I know.
Try McDonald's new McChicken sandwich.
Now save $3 per person on admission to Marine World Africa USA and support your local Ronald McDonald House. Pick up your family discount coupon today at participating McDonald's.
I just get back yesterday. I find out Brennan calls 5 times in one day. Can't get through.
Our phone system went down again.
You got it. I said, that's it. We're changing to Pacific Bell.
Do you think that'll help?
They've got the Centrex system. It's all in their offices. They monitor the whole thing 24 hours a day. It's not going to go down.
For the most reliable business phone systems ever made, your best call is to call on us, Pacific Bell.
There's the skipper of the San Francisco Giants, Roger Craig, looking on, watching Jose De Leon. In the first inning, he struck out 2 of the 3 batters that he faced. He struck out Chris Spire and then Will Clark. We mentioned De Leon second in the league in strikeouts. He will be facing Candy Maldonado, Mike Aldretti, and Ernest Riles. Maldonado with the game-winning RBI in yesterday afternoon's game, and he hits this one deep into center field. McGee going back, and this ball is up against the fence. Maldonado rounding second. He's going to head to third, and he'll make it. Andy Maldonado hit that ball a long way in a big ballpark.
And as we were saying, Dwayne, the ball does not carry as well to left center, right center, and center field as it does down the line. But Candy still managed to getting quite a bit out of it. It's 414 feet to straightaway center. And a leadoff triple. He has 6 hits now in this series.
And it'll be up to Mike Aldretti to drive him in here in the second inning. Cardinals playing back in the infield. And Aldretti takes ball 1.
Ground ball to second, ground ball to short. The Cardinals are going to give you a run. So it's important right here. Aldretti has to stay away from trying to pop that ball up if he can. Just a ground ball anywhere, with the exception of third base. They're going to give you a run.
Well, Aldretti ahead in the count, 2-0.
See where they're playing? The only guy that you have to worry about is Pendleton. Everybody else playing back. So ground ball, Maldonado's going to score, and I'm sure Fahey's already mentioned that to Candy.
It was Candy's first triple of the year, and that's ball 3. Candy got around second base, and
he was thinking about putting the brakes on.
Took a little short step. And he figured, if I'm going to get a triple, I guess this is about the only chance I got to do it, and he made it easily. 3-0 to Aldretti. Ernest Riles is on deck. And that's down low. So the Giants now have base runners on the corner with nobody out. De Leon with giving up a leadoff triple to Maldonado. Now he walks Aldretti. Here is Ernest Riles.
Also, you see the way that De Leon was working with Aldretti, trying to keep the ball away from him, in hopes that maybe Aldretti would swing and then bounce one right back to him. And then he could keep the runner at third. Let's see what he does here with Riles.
Cardinals now playing at double play depth. Outside, 1-0. Bob Melvin, one of the stars in yesterday's game. He is the on-deck hitter.
But you can see the infielders have shortened up just a little bit, with Oquendo and Smith closer in.
Here's the 1-0 to Ernest. That's a breaking ball, 2-0. Pena held on to that pitch a long time, obviously wanting Randy Marsh to get another look at it. Aldretti has stolen 4 bases. He's been thrown out 3 times. And there's a call strike. Good straight fastball.
I think with a count of 2 balls and no strikes, Roger put the take sign on. Sometimes those pitchers will put themselves further in the hole. But De Leon came back with a strike.
2-1 to Ernest Riles. Breaking ball. He grounds this one to Ozzie Smith. To Oquendo. Not in time at first. Riles with an RBI. Once again, Mike Aldretti going into second base hard. The one thing that I have to say that both teams have done very well. They have gone into second base with authority.
Oquendo a little bit afraid down there at second base. And see the way that he turned the double play? He was trying to get out of the way and had nothing on the throw. And that's one thing I really like about the way that Robbie turns the double play. Robbie will stay right there and put something on that ball. He has a very quick release.
And he'll take a beating if he has to.
Well, he'll take a shot now and then.
Melvin lines this one foul.
Now, you were a second baseman. You wanted that shortstop to give you the ball as quick as he could, didn't you?
I didn't care where he gave it to me. I liked it about belt high, but I would rather have it with something on it than the guy that tried to make the perfect throw. Once I get it, I'll take the responsibility of getting it over to first.
Reason being, you don't want that guy coming down from first base to just to wipe you out.
Well, it's tough to turn the double play when you got the base runner, the ball, and you have to find the bag all at the same time. 0-1 to Melvin. Breaking ball down and away, 1-1 to count.
I imagine you knew the guys at first base and which ones slid hard and which ones did not.
You always have to know those little things, because I'll tell you what, just about the time you take it easy down in second base, someone's going to clean your clock. 1-1 to Melvin. Hits this one into center field. McGee's got a beat on it, and he puts it away. Riles will go back to first. That is out number 2. Here's the Giants shortstop, Jose Uribe. Uribe coming in at 255, a couple of home runs, 16 RBIs. He's hitting much better from the right side. Of course, he'll be hitting from the left side today. He's hitting 244. Dodgers have taken the lead over the Pirates 1-0. They're in the 3rd inning. And De Leon starts Uribe off with a breaking ball, 1-0. The Cardinals also activated Scott Terry. He's a pitcher. They outrighted outfielder Dwayne Walker to Louisville. They did that before today's game. Riles at first, 2 down. Uribe grounds this one to Ozzie Smith. He will go the short way to Oquendo. And the Giants are out here in the 2nd inning, but they do come up with a run. And after 1.5, they lead the Cardinals 1-0.
If you do business across the Pacific, United Airlines Royal Pacific Service is just your cup of tea. United, rededicated to giving you the service you deserve, halfway around the world. Come fly the friendly skies.
Toyota's really big sales event is on now. It only happens once a year, and there's only one word for the selection and the deals.
Big. Besides picking up at the Sell Easy, Toyota's usual low price. Oh, fine. You could jump on a big truck deal with special options packages. 4x4 prices don't get any lower. Oh, come on. So come in now.
Wow, this really is big.
You're telling me.
It's on now. Toyota's really big sales event.
Real cute.
When my dad used to take me out to Candlestick, he taught me 3 things: a love for the game of baseball, the importance of sportsmanship, and a deep, bitter hatred for the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Well, it's Giants trading card day, Saturday, July 30th, prior to the Giants-Braves game at 1:05. The first 35,000 fans will receive a free set of the 1988 Giants trading cards. Call Teletron now for your tickets. Operators are standing by. Well, Rick Russell has a 1-0 lead, as you can see the phone numbers. If you'd like to call and get your tickets for trading card day. Melvin throws the ball down to second. Russell in the 1st inning gave off a leadoff single to Vince Coleman. Ozzie Smith hit a short fly to right field where Candy Maldonado just made a great play, and then Willie McGee hit into the 4-6-3 double play. It'll be Mike Laga, Terry Pendleton, and Kurt Ford here in the 2nd inning. Laga coming in at 167. And he pops this one up. Chris Spire shades his eyes, and he puts it away.
This telecast is brought to you in part by Budweiser. This Bud's for you.
Number 9, third baseman, Terry Pendleton.
Well,
Now Russell will be facing Terry Pendleton. Once again, Ron, we look around the ballpark and we see a lot of seats that are filled.
It's amazing how well they support this ball club here. We said before they played their first game this year, they had already sold over 2 million tickets for the Cardinal games this year.
Pendleton takes a call strike.
And today, it is road jersey day. They're giving away Cardinal road jerseys to all the kids. They're T-shirts. They look like the road uniforms.
Pendleton hits this one on a button, but right at Spire. And that'll go 4-3 for the second out here in the second inning.
Pendleton really is a tough out. Of course, there's a tremendous advantage being a switch hitter. And he hit this one right on the nose, but he's been batting right around 350 against the Giant pitching staff all year long. He's a tough guy. He's one guy that you don't want to have come up with men on base.
Here's Kurt Ford coming in at 169. Ford takes the ball outside. The one thing this little guy does is he takes a healthy cut. He does not get cheated. He's also right down at the end of the bat. And he lines this one right up the middle for a base hit. Now, the one thing that should be mentioned, Ron, is Rick Russell is always going to give up his base hits.
Oh, he's going to give up hits. In fact, he's throwing the ball up the plate. He wants you to hit the ball. Good chance to see right here what kind of a pitch does he get to hit. Well, they're just right out over the plate. Had it up just a little bit. But Russell, I mean, he has said time and time again, he's saying, hey, I'm not a strikeout pitcher. I'm not a shutout pitcher. I want to throw the ball up the plate, and you want to hit it in the first 2 pitches. That's great for me. That means it's a lot easier for me out there in the mound, and he'll make you hit it on the ground.
Opposition is hitting 274 off of Rick Russell.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, they guys hit well against Warren Spahn, too.
Oquendo hits this one to Riles as he goes to his left, and he throws out Oquendo for the third out here in the second inning. After 2 complete, the Giants are leading 1-0.
Every day, Jack Taylor and Joe Donovan take the same road home. But today, they went a little out of their way.
Give you a hand.
Here's to you, the clean, crisp taste of Beechwood-aged Budweiser.
This Bud's
For all the guys who go out of their way.
This Bud's for you.
Something smart has happened to the new Pacific Bell Yellow Pages.
My mama told me you better shop around. Oh, yeah, you better shop around. Shop around.
Starting now, there are maps of local streets and shopping districts to help you locate the store that has what you need.
My mama told me you better shop around.
The brand new Pacific Bell Smart Yellow Pages. It's smarter to do it by the book.
After Gail Clark's 28-year-old husband died, his older brother, Michael Dean Clark, moved in. They had a brief romance, but then tragedy struck. According to police, Michael Clark attacked Gail and her 9-year-old niece. Now, Michael Clark is wanted for murder.
It would appear that Michael Clark was the black sheep of the family, the brother in trouble.
Get the clues and help police capture this accused killer. Watch America's Most Wanted.
Tonight at 8 on Channel 2.
Well, if you've got tickets for tomorrow night's game at Candlestick Park, that's the man you'll be seeing pitch for the San Francisco Giants, Kelly Downs. He'll be going against one of the guys that you fans have seen pitch a lot against the Giants, and that's Fernando Valenzuela. Kelly Downs obviously looking over the book of either the Cardinal hitters or the Dodger hitters as he is preparing for tomorrow night's game. Giants are leading 1-0, top of the third inning, and to call the action here, Steve.
All right, Kipe, it will be Valenzuela against Kelly Downs tomorrow. Then we've got that Tuesday doubleheader, Hershiser and Mulholland. Good matchup there, followed by Belcher and Robinson in the second game of that Twinighter. And then on Wednesday, Tim Leary against Adley Hamaker. Well, here is Big Daddy, and he swings and misses at a Jose De Leon fastball, and it's no balls and 1 strike.
Big Daddy just took a Big Daddy swing.
Yes, he did. Going for the Downs. Well, he has himself a 1-0 lead, and there is the change in a swing and a miss, and he's behind the count 0-2. Swing and a ground ball foul. Count stays the same. No balls, 2 strikes. And Kipe, I was reading the other day a comment from Rick Dempsey, the catcher for the L.A. Dodgers, talking about Fernando Valenzuela, and he says he's going to struggle the rest of the year. He says I can't see a guy improving 10 miles an hour on his fastball the rest of this year. So he says Valenzuela is going to really struggle the rest of the year.
I was surprised when I read that, too, that here's a guy in your own team, and he's your catcher, Dempsey, telling everybody how poorly Valenzuela is throwing.
Ground ball back to De Leon, knocks it down, and will throw out Russell, 1 out.
But that could be a psych job, so I'm not buying it.
Doesn't help the pitcher's confidence that much, though, does it?
No, not really.
Unless Dempsey goes over to him in the locker room and says, hey, I was just kidding.
He may have already done that, but he probably wasn't kidding. I mean, that's been said throughout the league, but it hasn't been said by any of the Dodger players, let alone their catcher.
Well, Dan Quisenberry certainly knows what happens when you lose a little miles per hour off of your fastball. He did that with Kansas City, was released after having so many great years, Rolai's relief pitcher of the year, and now he's with the St. Louis Cardinals and back with his old manager, Whitey Herzog. Well, here is Brett Butler. He is looking for base hit number 1,000 in his career. He thought he had it last night in the 9th inning when he drove one off the glove of Jose Oquendo, but the official scorekeeper said, hey, that's an error on Oquendo. Pendleton would have had it. And here is Brett Butler with a drive to right field, but Kurt Ford will run it down. 2 outs.
Pacific Valve, a participating sponsor.
Now Butler comes chugging in, still looking for base hit number 1,000. Did you think he had it last night, Kite?
Yes, I did. You know, the official score, I believe, felt like had Terry Pendleton been out there, that play would have been made. Pendleton had been taken out on a double switch.
Chris Spire with a drive to left field, but it will hook foul. Well, he had the home run distance, and some fan really made a bad play. Tried to make the catch in the stands, and it bounced all the way back to left field.
Nice swing by Chris Spire. As you can see, he knew immediately that that ball was probably going to hook foul. He hit it a long way.
Well, his last start against St. Louis, he was really swinging the bat. And he takes one outside that misses. 1 ball, 1 strike.
But I think a lot of times, going back to the ball that Butler hit yesterday, is the official score, sometimes they have to take into consideration the fact that there's a different player out there. And yeah, Pendleton may have made that play, but you can't punish Butler just because Whitey Herzog made a double switch. And Oquendo's not chopped liver. Believe me, he can play. You know, Giants fans ought to know that more than anybody.
Hey, how about the play that Jose Uribe made on Thursday? He boots a ball that you normally expect him to make, comes back with a double play later. But some of your great players are going to boot the ball. We were talking about Chris Spire, his last start against St. Louis, and look at this. Single, double, triple, home run, 5 RBIs, and a 21-2 rout of the Cardinals. That game at Candlestick Park. Here's a ground ball. Oquendo takes a high hop and throws out Chris, and a quick 1-2-3 inning for Jose De Leon in St. Louis. And at the end of 2 1/2, it's San Francisco 1, St. Louis nothing.
A lot of folks drive off on vacation without knowing what to do or who to turn to if they run into trouble far from home. I'm State Farm Agent Steve Rose, and my policyholders know that almost anywhere they travel, they'll find a State Farm agent nearby, ready to help them get back on the road. It's part of the good neighbor service we're so proud of. For auto, home, life, or health insurance.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
For your next business conference or private getaway, Silverado, a trusted.
Captain, icebergs ahead! Dive! Dive!
AMV
p.m. mini markets, big 32-ouncer of Coke is now just 59 cents. Submarine not included.
Hey, bring your softball team out to the stick August 16th or September 8th and sign up your best slugger in the Giants softball hitting derby. Your whole team could win. For more information, call the Giants Group Sales Office weekdays 9 to 5 at 415-468-3700. For this, Chris Spire, tell you what, we were talking about his last start against St. Louis. The ball looked like it was slow-pitch softball the way he was hitting it with those 5 hits in that game. And again, the Giants routed the Cardinals 21-2. And we've got some scores from around the National League for you. Los Angeles now leading Pittsburgh 1-0. That game is in the 4th inning. Philadelphia and Houston are scoreless in the 2nd. And Cincinnati and Montreal, they are scoreless in the 1st inning. In that L.A.-Pittsburgh game, though, Hillegas goes against Brian Fisher. And here for the Cardinals in their half of the 3rd, Tony Pena will lead things off, to be followed by the pitcher Jose De Leon, and then leadoff man Vince Coleman. And Rick Russell's first pitch is swung on, hit on the ground to Ernie Riles. Quick throw to first base is in time, 1 out.
Not an easy play for the third baseman. Riles, for a second, thought this ball might go foul. He's got to field it on the run and then make a good, strong throw. The nice thing about that is you have the catcher running, and you can take your time, but not too much time.
Here's the pitcher, Jose De Leon, with a swing and a miss. Now, so many times, Dwayne, we'll say, hey, why don't the batters take a look at that first pitch? With Rick Russell, he's always so close. Do you change up your philosophy with him?
Well, Russell would be a guy, if I was facing him, and I did years ago, that if I got a good pitch on the first pitch, I would swing at it.
Here's the 1-1. And here's a swing and a chopper to Jose Uribe. High bounce. Nice play. Was it in time? Yes, it was. And it took Will Clark's foot off the bag. But apparently he was able to come down and snare that bag and record out number 2 here in the 3rd.
This is one of the plays that you'll see Ozzie Smith work on when he takes ground balls before the game. You have to actually jump to field a ground ball, and that usually happens when you play on turf. But Uribe does a nice job.
2 outs in the inning.
Again, it also helps to have the pitcher running. If Coleman or Smith or McGee hit that ball, you can eat it.
Here's Vince Coleman. He knocked one off Rick Russell's glove in the 1st to lead the inning off and the game. Coleman squares the bunt. He has had 2 bunt singles in this series, and he has the count Russell's way, 0-1. Ozzie Smith will follow. The average right at 270 for Vince, and he swings and hits one hard, but right at Chris Spire, who throws him out. And Russell has set down the last 4 Cardinals that he's faced. And at the end of 3 complete, the Giants still lead 1-0.
Train number 12 now entering. Okay, this is up.
Excuse me, Bud. Hey, watch it, Bud.
That's seat taken? No, go ahead, Bud. Hey, hold the door.
Introducing Budweiser Long Necks to go. Now in handy 12 and 6-pack.
Are you done with that paper? Flight 12 now boarding. Come on, Bud. Window runner. Window, Bud. Excuse me, Bud. Hey, this is the overhead.
Not smoking, Bud.
Is it air flight?
Introducing Budweiser Long Necks to go. Now in handy 12
Hey, check out the window. Commuter flight.
and 6-pack.
You can eat those peanuts. Okay, kiddo, time for bed. Mom's orders.
Ah, the virtues of milk. Milk helps supply protein
What you doing?
for strong muscles,
I've got homework.
vitamin B complex
I'm thirsty.
for a steady nervous system,
Night now.
some carbohydrate
I need my blanket.
to boost your energy level.
Let me study.
And milk has some fiber to help keep up your morale.
We're home.
Milk,
Aren't you done with your homework?
it does a body good.
Now, let me see. Big selection. No waiting. What else? Oh, yes, the big savings on Corolla FX options packages. And Camry, too. I could just get over there. Hurry home! Well done, man. Carry on. Oh, no. You can save big on Camry options packages, too. So...
Toyota's really big sales event. It only happens once a year, and it's happening now.
1-0 ball game. San Francisco has the lead over the St. Louis Cardinals. A look at Whitey Herzog with pitcher Danny Cox, and the White Rat has 1,127 career victories. He's one of 37 managers with over 1,000 wins now. On the other side, Roger Craig. And here in the fourth, it'll be Will Clark, Candy Maldonado, and Mike Aldrete.
You know what's going through Roger Craig's mind? He's thinking, you know, we got the Dodgers coming in, and we're just setting them up. Dodgers are thinking that we're playing pretty poor right now, and just the way we like it.
All right. Here's Jose De Leon, and it's strike one to Will Clark. Again, a 5 o'clock ball game at Candlestick Park tomorrow, and then that twilight doubleheader on Tuesday beginning at 5:35, and then back to a 7:35 contest on Wednesday. The pitch by De Leon, and Clark swings and fouls it off. He's behind the count. No balls, 2 strikes.
Well, Will gets to face a guy that he doesn't have to worry about a whole lot of breaking balls, although he still might see some from De Leon. He also knows that De Leon's got an outstanding fastball, and he's going to get the swing at a couple of fastballs tonight.
Well, Will gets one and really hammers it, but foul. The count will stay the same, 0-2. And you know, Dwayne, when De Leon came up, he had the great stuff, but he had one year where he won just 2 games and lost 19. And it seemed like he'd take no hitters into the 5th, 6th inning, and soon as a base runner would get on, he'd become a different pitcher. He throws outside, ball 1 to Clark, and the count's 1-2.
Well, when he was a youngster with the Pittsburgh Pirates, I remember all the guys felt like he had the best stuff on their staff. He just did not know how to win games. He knew how to strike guys out. He didn't know how to win.
Clark taking high and inside. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Very, very similar, Steve, to a young Bert Blyleven, who always had just great stuff, still does. But no matter what you did, if he stayed in the game long enough, you're going to beat him. And that's what happened to De Leon.
Swing and a foul. Counts even. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
It's interesting to watch Will. In his first at-bat, he wore that shin guard. And it's almost like, well, that didn't do any good. I struck out. Forget this shin guard. I'm going to file that thing.
De Leon has 2 strikeouts in the game. Here's the 2-2 pitch to Will Clark, and there is a smash, but right to Oquendo. One out, and Candy Maldonado coming to the plate.
This telecast is brought to you in part by Chevron.
One out to Candy Maldonado. His first time up, he took De Leon deep in the gap in left center field over the head of Willie McGee for a triple. And swinging the bat much better. He takes ball 1. He had 3 hits yesterday, including the game winner in the 9th inning with Brett Butler on second base. He singled back up the middle. And Willie McGee tried a decoy on the play, but Butler was going full stride with 2 outs. And there's a check swing outside. 2 balls, no strikes.
I don't know how many times it's been said already this year how the Giants need to have Candy Maldonado swing the bat. And yesterday was a great example of what happens when he does that.
He swings and misses, and it's 2-1. And he even admitted to Ron Fairley that earlier this year, when the season started, he was trying to pull the ball more and trying to hit more home runs. And right now, he's gone 44 days without a home run.
He also admitted that he's not a home run hitter.
Well, there's a shot to right field. That's a base hit. Coming over is Kurt Ford, and Maldonado's 2 for 2.
Candy is a guy, he's a line drive hitter that will hit home runs. Quite the opposite of Will Clark, who will hit home runs, and then again he'll mix in some line drives. as Candy doesn't hit that ball well, but he tries to go to right field, and he comes up with a second base hit in this game.
And you remember he went through that stretch last year, right before he broke his hand on national television game last year, where he was one of the favorites to win the most valuable player. Foul off by Aldretti with the runner Maldonado going.
Roger putting the hit and run play on. Aldretti having to swing at a bad pitch, a ball that was up and away in the strike zone. But Aldretti does his job. If he doesn't foul that ball off, Maldonado's a dead duck at second base.
You've got a good hit and run guy up there, and Mike Aldretti. He makes contact, but De Leon is a strikeout pitcher. And he's ahead. We might see the forkball in this situation. Candy's going again. The pitch is swung on. Base hit right field. Candy makes the turn at second base and heads to third. The Giants have runners in the corners with only one out.
Nothing makes Roger Craig smile than a successful hit and run. He loves that play. He puts it on all the time. Hasn't been as successful this year as it was last year. Another ball high and away, and Aldretti taking advantage of that hole between first and second. First and third, one down.
And the Giants have another left-hander up there, and Ernest Riles. So Maldonado just 90 feet away from giving the Giants their second run of the game. It's right now 1-0 San Francisco, and we're in the fourth. Riles takes outside, ball one. Cincinnati has jumped on Montreal 3-0 that ball game now in the third, and San Diego is ahead of Chicago 2-1 in the third. Philadelphia, Houston scoreless in the third. And we told you about Pittsburgh and Los Angeles, the Dodgers leading 1-0 that ball game in the fourth. Aldretti's not going. The pitch is outside, and Pena bluffs a move to first base.
Ernest Riles, an outstanding low ball hitter. Jose De Leon, a high fastball pitcher. And if Riles is going to get a pitch that he likes, he should get it with a 2-0 count.
Aldretti's not going, and the pitch is hammered to right field, but Kurt Ford right there. Maldonado will tag. Ford's throw is to second base, and the Giants lead 2-0. So a nice job of hitting by Ernest Riles, and like you said, Kipe, he got a pitch to hit.
Second RBI for Ernest Riles. First was on a fielder's choice. This one on a sacrifice fly. And the one thing the Giants have done today is take advantage of that man at third base with less than 2 outs.
And here's Bobby Melvin. He hit the ball hard his first time up. Takes a strike. Aldretti at first, 2 outs now in the fourth. One ball, one strike.
In case you may have missed the interview I did with Bob Melvin before the game, I asked him, I said, well, when you got sent down to Phoenix, did you watch the box scores? And he said, no, it really was too hard for him to do that because he missed all those guys, and he really felt like he had a job to do in Phoenix. He wasn't going to worry about what the Giants were doing.
And there's a line shot down the left field line. Aldretti is around second base. Coleman has an excellent arm. They will send Aldretti. Melvin's into second with a double. Here's the throw home, and Aldretti is out.
Well,
great throw from Coleman, and then to the cutoff man who guns down Mike Aldretti at the plate. But the Giants score 1 run here in the fourth to take a 2-0 lead on St. Louis. We'll come back with the bottom of the fourth after these words.
The Reds do it. So do Krylon Blue. Krylon paint turns everything old Krylon new. Spray on Krylon for a smooth, professional finish with no runs, no drips, no errors, Now that's Krylon new.
I paint the old pitching machine with Rust Magic with RP2. Rust Magic keeps this pitcher in great shape, and Rust Magic dries faster than the leading national brand. That's a winner when you're rained out. Rust Magic from Krylon. Tough, fast-drying rust protection.
When we invented the first American minivan, we thought we'd see a lot of competition. But when you look around, the unequaled front-wheel drive Dodge Caravan clearly stands alone. And with prices like this, no wonder it's America's best-selling family wagon. It's gotta be Dodge Caravan.
When I was in the brokerage business, I learned something. The people who win get in early. So if you want tickets to a Giants game, call this number and get them now.
Vince Coleman has now 12 assists on the year, and that great throw he made to the cutoff man set the whole play up, Dwayne.
Well, that's why Bill Fahey sent Aldretti. They have to make 2 perfect throws. Aldretti stumbles. That certainly doesn't help. But Coleman comes up with a fine throw to Pendleton. Pendleton, in turn, comes up with an outstanding throw to Pena. And it takes 2 perfect throws to get Aldretti, and that's why Fahey took the chance. And those are the guys that were involved in that play, Coleman and Pendleton, pointing out all the good stuff that he did on that play.
You know, he gets the ball in such a hurry. I think any other left fielder, and Aldretti's going to score easily with 2 outs. But Vince gets over there to get the baseball, and then he has a good arm to boot.
Well, you know, so many things have to go through the mind of a third base coach when he is sending that runner.
Ozzie tries to go the opposite way. The count's 1 ball, 2 strikes.
It's more than just speed of the ball. It's more than just the great arm in left field. It's more than just the speed of the base runner. All right, if he holds Aldretti up at third base, the Giants have runners at second and third. Uribe, the hitter, they will walk Uribe to get to Rick Russell. Fahey has to know all of that stuff, and he has to make that split-second decision.
Boy, that's thinking ahead. But Bill says you have to know all the time what's going on. Here's a ground ball. Chris Spire throws out Ozzie Smith, 1 out here in inning number 4. And, you know, Bill was talking about that before the game. He could not believe Willie McGee the other day tagging up with 2 outs.
Well,
and he said, I cannot believe a ball player not know. But he said the funny thing is when that happens, you go, hey, am I wrong?
I was doing play-by-play, and when I saw McGee tag up, definitely thought my scorecard was wrong, and I had suffered a severe brain cramp. But I have to tell you, you know, I don't. If you play 10 years in the major league, every player is going to do that at least once.
Willie McGee, Ernest Riles with a nice play on 1 hop, throws him out. And get this, Kipe, of the 11 outs that have been recorded off Rick Russell, 9 have been by way of the ground ball, and that's his style of pitching.
Well, Rick will tell you, listen, I'm not going to be in this game all by myself. You guys get a check, same as I do, and I'm going to make
Mine
you earn
might be
your
a little
money.
bigger.
And I'm going to make you earn it. So stay on your toes. I'll work quick for you. Giants have really put on a shift for Laga.
But one of the only guys who's put the ball in the air is right here, Mike Laga. He popped up on the first pitch, and they have a severe shift on. Jose Uribe is behind second base, almost where Robbie Thompson or Chris Spire would be. And Chris is kind of playing if it's there's a line shot, and Laga beats everybody by singling into right field. I almost was going to say he's a rover in softball.
Mike Laga does beat the shift. You know, anytime you see a shift like that, try not to change your style as a hitter and just hit the ball hard, take your chances.
So that's the 3rd hit off Russell in the game. The Giants leading 2-0. They have 4 hits. L.A. and Pittsburgh are now in inning number 6. The Dodgers leading 1-0. Laga's at first base, 2 outs, and the batter is Terry Pendleton. 1 ball, no strikes. Pendleton's biggest problem with San Francisco in this series was that 3-run double in the opening game. Broke open a close game, and St. Louis went on to win 6-4.
We actually saw some of the writers in this town second-guess Whitey Herzog in the paper this morning with the move that he made that took Pendleton out of the game yesterday in the double switch. Actually, there were 3 players that came in. And then, of course, Butler hit that ball that most people felt Pendleton would have made the play at third base. But you don't see too many people second-guess the White Rat.
Pendleton hits it hard to center field, but Brett Butler right there makes the catch, ending the inning. So after 4, it's still San Francisco leading St. Louis 2-0.
Train number 12 now entering the station. Okay, this is up.
Excuse me, Bud. Hey, watch it, Bud.
That seat taken? No, go ahead, bud.
Hey, hold the door.
Introducing Budweiser Long Necks to go. Now in handy 12 and 6-pack.
Are you done with that paper?
Flight 12 now boarding.
Come on, bud. Want a window or an aisle? Window, bud. Excuse me, bud. Hey, this is the overhead.
Not smoking, Bud.
Is it air flight?
Introducing Budweiser Long Necks to go. Now available
Hey, check out the window. Commuter
at
flight.
a special price.
You eat those peanuts?
Something smart has happened to the new Pacific Bell Yellow Pages.
Come on, baby, let the good time roll. Come on, baby, let me fill your soul. Come on, baby, let the good time roll.
Now our new one-page entertainment index can help you find the good times day or night.
Roll all night long.
The brand new Pacific Bell Smart Yellow Pages. It's smarter to do it by the book.
I played a little football at Holy Cross, 6'4", 215. Very intimidating. Perfect for a linebacker. Not so good for a pediatrician. Kids are a little afraid of doctors to begin with. So for the past 15 years, the first thing I always do is sit down and kind of whisper.
As a member of Kaiser Permanente, you can have a personal physician, one like Dr. John Walsh. Kaiser Permanente, good people, good medicine.
Hey, pack your bags, because on Friday, July 29th, you could be on your way to one of several U.S. cities in Giants instant vacation night. Prior to the Giants-Braves game at 7:35, fans should meet in parking lot C with their luggage. Because it's instant vacation night. Friday, July 29th, you could be on your way instantly. That's going to be a tough one to call your boss the next day and say, hey, by the way, guess what I won? Here's a ground ball. Base hit right field. We're seeing some St. Louis Cardinal base hits by the San Francisco Giants today. Mike Aldretti and now Jose Uribe.
If you play in a 4-game series, and if you tell yourself, if I get up 15 times in this series, and every time I hit a ground ball, you're going to take your chances on getting some hits.
We saw a 3-run inning in the 6th inning where St. Louis did not get the ball out of the infield. Rick Russell, who leads the team in sacrifice hits, is up there in that situation. He has 12 this year. He's an excellent butter. We had Laga racing down the line at first base, and Pendleton, who handles every single bunt as if he's Ozzie Smith over at third. Uribe has very good speed at first. And the way Russell bunts, the only play may be first base.
I'm sure Russell will try to bunt this down the first baseline.
And Rick has to pull away from a high and tight pitch. It's 1 ball, 1 strike.
Watch Big Daddy. Big Daddy's got quick feet for a big man. Moves that body around pretty good. Why would you try to bunt to first? Well, I'll tell you what. I'd take my chances with letting Laga field the ball as opposed to Pendleton.
Here he comes racing on, and it is on the first base side. De Leon's only play first base, and Uribe is at second with 1 out. That is the 13th sacrifice hit by Rick Russell this year, a guy who only plays every 4th, 5th day and leads the club with 12 now.
De Leon feels it, and like he said, his only play is at first. And that goes back to what we said about Rick Russell. He knows how to win.
Kid on the mound now, we also said at one time did not know how to win. Big Daddy does. Does all of those little things where he really helps himself.
Well, here's Brett Butler. Outside corner, strike one. Yesterday, you could have said the Butler did it because Brett did in that ninth inning. Glancing one off Jose Oquendo, reaching second base and scoring on Candy Maldonado's single. This is a guy who would probably hit 300 every year playing here in St. Louis, and rifles one down the line but foul. And he's behind the count, 0-2.
He'd have a good shot at it. Big ballpark, and that's good for line drive hitters. He'll hit some balls in the alley. He'd have a lot of triples here like Coleman does. But more than anything, with the hard turf, beat the ball on the ground, and in all likelihood, he probably would hit 300 plus.
Brett's behind the count, 0-2 with one out. In inning number 5, San Francisco leading 2-0. Uribe at second base, and here's the pitch. Misses outside, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Brett's 0 for 2 in the game, popped up to the catcher in the first and flied out to the right fielder, hitting it hard, Kurt Ford, in inning number 3. Goes the opposite way. Coleman with a long run in left, but gets there easily and makes the catch. Uribe back to second.
Butler pulled off of that. Actually, it was a hanging curveball. Had he stayed with it instead of pulling off of it. See that shoulder come out? That's what happens when you do it. And all you can do really is hit a little weak fly ball to left field. I ought to know. I had more weak fly balls to left field than anybody, at least in this booth.
Now, is his body shifted forward too soon?
He just got out in front a little bit, and his weight, instead of keeping his weight back and his shoulder in. And that's what happens sometimes on a breaking ball. You get fooled. De Leon does throw hard, so sometimes you're just going to get that body out going, and you can't stop it.
And here's Chris Spire with the count, 1 ball, no strikes. And he takes low, 2 balls and no strikes. Randy Marsh behind the plate, Dana DeMuth at first, Dutch Rennert is at second, and Frank Pulley at third. Those are our umpires. And the guy behind home plate, I think, is one of the finest in the National League, Randy Marsh. You don't hear much about him, and that usually is a good sign for an umpire. Here's the 2-0 pitch, and Chris takes a strike, 2-1.
Chris looked like he was taking 2-0 all the way, hoping he could get to 3-0 and maybe draw a base on balls for the guy who's hitting next, Will Clark.
Uribe with the lead at second. The pitch, and there's a base hit to right field. They will hold Jose Uribe at third. And a great throw by Kurt Ford. Well, there's Fahey again. Like you were saying, he's got to be thinking Will Clark's up next. They're not going to walk him with first base occupied by Chris Spire. Giants have a chance at a big inning here with 2 outs.
As soon as Spire hit this ball, really felt like Uribe did not have much of a chance to score. And Fahey putting the brakes on Uribe. Ooh. And if this would have been lower in the order, Fahey may have taken the chance of sending Uribe. But when you got a guy with second in the league in RBIs, you're going to let him take a crack at it. Fine throw by Kurt Ford.
Boy, this is a good outfield with Coleman, McGee already with gold gloves, and Kurt Ford, you just saw his arm over in right field. Where here is Will Clark. He hit the ball hard, but right at the second baseman, Jose Oquendo, to start the fourth. Uribe at third. The pitch is outside. Chris Spires at first. Runners in the corners, 2 outs. 2-0 our score. San Francisco leads.
I'd like to see the Giants put another run on the board, if for any other reason than the fact that 2-0 has done neither team any good this series.
Missing outside, 2-0.
Giants, I believe, held a 2-0 lead on Thursday night, and that was washed out.
Spire at first. Uribe at third. 2 outs. And here's De Leon's 2-0 pitch to Will Clark. Up high and outside. 3-0.
You'd almost figure that they would pitch to Will Clark. I don't know. He's going to have a little chat with Bill Fahey.
Now, are you sure you want me to take on this pitch?
I don't think there's any question that Will Clark has the green light.
And, you know, the great thing about this situation, for the first time in a long time, the pitcher has to be thinking, hey, Candy Maldonado's on deck, and he's 2 for 2.
And 3 for his last 3.
Here's the 3-0, and Will with a drive to right field. And forget about this one, home run number 22. Well, Will Clark went over to talk to Bill Fahey, got the green light on 3-0, and De Leon with a fastball, and it's 5-0 San Francisco.
This is what you do when you have the green light. Let her rip, and that he does. This was a no-doubter as soon as it left his bat. It had the right sound and obviously the right distance. Home run number 22, RBI 72, 73, and 74.
And Candy Maldonado fouls one off. It's no balls and 1 strike. Well, what a difference a hitter is, a great hitter particularly, when he is ahead in the count. Candy Maldonado swings and misses. 0-2.
There's the natural. Kind of interesting. They had that little chat down the third baseline. It probably didn't have anything to do with what we were thinking about.
But it's so much fun because you've seen him in the past give those crazy looks at home plate. There's the pitch high. 1 ball, 2 strikes. I remember listening to you and Joe on Giants Vision earlier this year, Kipe, and they held him up with a count 3-0. And remember that look that Will gave Bill Fahey? Remember Jim Lynch, your director, holding on to that and just freezing it and saying, oh, golly. Outside corner, strike 3 to Candy Maldonado. But De Leon, boy, he walks back to the dugout in very distressful fashion because he threw a 3-0 pitch to Will Clark, who hammered it for his 22nd home run this year. And the Giants now lead St. Louis 5-0.
Tires. Man, what the right set can do for your car.
Baby knows how to move. Baby's got her newest shoes. And we're gonna drive like she drives. 'Cause we're all getting Goodrich TA radio.
They'll fill your car back up with performance. BF Goodrich TAs. We make your car perform.
Now let me see. Big selection. No waiting. What else? Oh, yes, the big savings on Corolla FX options packages. And Camry, too. I can just get over there. Whoa. Hurry home! Well done, man. Carry on. Oh, no. You can save big on Camry options packages, too. So...
Toyota's really big sales event. It only happens once a year, and it's happening now.
No.
She never dreamed she'd win, but there it was, best of show. She had her hardware store to thank for this. 2 years ago, Gwen couldn't tell a pea from a pod. After all, if it hadn't been for that California certified nurseryman, gardening would still be a mystery. Good things happen when a store understands service. This one does.
For the right item at the right price right now. Choose Lord, choose.
This copyrighted program is authorized under television rights granted by the San Francisco Giants solely for the entertainment of our audience, and any publication, reproduction, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the San Francisco Giants is prohibited.
Old American.
Oh, my. Beat the pitch, didn't I? 1 ball, no strikes to Curt Ford.
I was raised by an auctioneer. My dad was an auctioneer.
On the farm in Wisconsin.
And you sounded just like him.
What were they selling up there in the 4-H, huh?
4-H club.
Were you part of that?
I was involved 1 year.
Curt Ford pops it up on the infield. Riles comes on, calls off Rick Russell, makes the catch. So a little pop fly by Curt Ford. Well, the difference in this game is Will Clark's 22nd home run of the year, and we'll show it to you right after this.
Travel for the Giants arranged through U.S. Air, soon serving the Bay Area with non-stops between San Jose and Phoenix. Now California has even more to smile about.
Jose Oquendo, and he lines one hard to Jose Uribe. 2 quick outs here in the 5th. Well, when you get the green light with the count 3 balls and no strikes, and that's what Will Clark, this is what number 3 hitters have to do.
And that's where it ended up.
He is one of the great first basemen in the game right now. He's only 24 years old. 74 RBIs, 22 home runs. That number there is tied with Glenn Davis of Houston. And I know you were talking with Ron earlier about the responsibilities and the significance of those 2 young first basemen in the National League with their teams this year. If they don't have the years they're having, wow, where will Houston and San Francisco be? Ball 1 to Tony Pena.
Will having a little chat with Dana DeMuth, first base umpire.
Strike in the outside corner. 1 ball, 1 strike.
It's amazing how much easier it is to converse after you've done something well. I always found myself doing that. I'd have a, you know, maybe a ground rule double. And boy, it's easy to talk to the second base umpire. Start going in the slump and you don't want to talk to anybody.
It's funny how you talk about ground rule doubles about other players like other players talk about home runs.
I had 3 1 year. I'd set a goal for 5. And it was always fun for me to watch that ball bounce into the stands.
Foul ball, first base side. Will Clark will not reach it. The count is 2 balls and 2 strikes to Tony Pena. Now, were those over into the stands over the outfield wall, or were those down the line where they'd go into tunnels and then put
a couple of them were legit. I had coached some of the people down the lines in opposing ballparks. If I hit one down there, pick it up. Give me a chance to ease on in a second.
Pena going to get a new bat. Pittsburgh has scored a run in the 6th inning, and they have tied the Los Angeles Dodgers, the first-place team in the National League West, at 1. They're now in the 7th inning. And Philadelphia and Houston, it's still a scoreless ball game in the 4th. Cincinnati leading Montreal in the 5th, 3-1. Here it's 5-0 San Francisco, the Giants' biggest lead of this 4-game series. Pena has the count 3-2, and here's Rick Russell's pitch. Ground ball foul, stays the same, 3-2.
The nice thing you like about a 5-run lead against this ball club is what it does is it stops their aggressiveness on the base paths. It doesn't hurt you so much if a guy steals second base or a guy steals third. It's in those 1-run or 2-run games where the Cardinals can really come back.
Pena again goes the opposite way, fouls it off, 3-2. Continuing the National League scores, Atlanta leading New York 3-1 in the 7th. And San Diego is ahead of Chicago 2-1, that ball game in the 5th. Giants started today 7 games back of the Dodgers in the National League West and 2 behind the Houston Astros for 2nd place. Russell with the 3-2 pitch. Up high. Walks his first man of the game. And we will see a pinch hitter for Jose De Leon. It's a guy who used to start at second base, Luis Alicea, a former #1 draft choice by the St. Louis Cardinals. And he'll be there with Tony Pena at first base and 2 outs. You see his average. He struggled this year. Now, he was hitting when the club was hitting, but Whitey Herzog said as soon as the rest of our hitters went in the tank, so did Alicea, so we needed to get somebody else in there, and that man was Jose Oquendo. 1 ball, no strikes.
Alicea's had a real problem hitting right-handed. He's only hitting 141. And that was also one of the reasons why Oquendo has been playing every day.
Swings and taps it foul. 1 ball, 1 strike.
I don't really think that the Cardinals like the idea of having a young guy like Alicea sit on the bench. In order for him to get any better, and especially improve hitting right-handed, he has to play. And they may have to make a decision whether they want to keep him in the big leagues or not.
Whitey Herzog was saying he's come so quickly in the organization that we didn't expect him to reach the major league level at this time, but he just forced us into that situation, and that's why we traded Tom Herr for Tom Brunansky. Here's the 2-1 pitch from Rick Russell. It's low. It's 3 balls, 1 strike. Herzog saying the other day, I guarantee you we would have scored more runs with this club if Tommy Herr was back on this team. Here's the swing and a fly ball. Center field, Brett Butler. He's there to make the catch, and it ends the inning. And at the end of 5 complete, it's 5-0 San Francisco.
Can you confirm visual contact? Roger, mission control. Visual contact confirmed. All manual guidance systems operational. Activate maximum balance controls. Roger, balance systems operational. Begin re-entry sequence. 10, 9, 8.
Budweiser presents the 1988 U.S. Pro Surfing Tour. It's out of this world.
That's affirmative. We now have splashdown.
Knocking and pinging. It can bring out the animal in anyone. So we developed high-octane Chevron Supreme and added the cleansing power of Tetraid. Now you'll be free to go without a moment's hesitation. Chevron, we fuel your freedom.
Next on the best of the National Geographic specials, the vast fortunes of a sunken Spanish galleon, unimaginable wealth lost in the ocean's depths. Now, 3 centuries later, the Atocha is more than just a mystery. For Mel Fisher, it's an obsession. Join him as he faces overwhelming odds to realize his dream. Treasure.
Tonight at 6 on Channel 2.
Sixth inning we go. San Francisco has a 5-0 lead in the St. Louis Cardinals, and on the mound now replacing Jose De Leon is the man who was just activated today, Scott Terry. He had been down on rehab in Louisville. As you take a look at his numbers, 2 and 3, 3.98 earned run average. He had a hamstring pull earlier this year, but he's back now after 3 starts with Louisville. He's allowed earned runs in just 13 of his first 34 appearances this year. He worked 3 scoreless innings, allowing just 1 hit to go by with John Tudor and a 1-hit shutout of the Dodgers at L.A. on May 1st. But in May, he came up with that hamstring pull, and he just had it nagging and could not come back. So they put him on the disabled list, and when he came back, they put him on rehab in Louisville. He started 3 games, and here he is. He also says his wife is about 7 months along, ready to have a baby, and he's kind of excited about that. So Scott Terry, the new pitcher. Mike Aldretti will lead things off for San Francisco. He'll be followed by Ernest Riles and then Bob Melvin. Terry has a good fastball and an excellent slider. His slider is a strikeout pitch. Aldretti has been on base twice. A walk and a base hit to right field. And he takes it outside the fastball.
Remembering Terry from the last time we were here in St. Louis, He's a guy that comes at you. He doesn't back off.
He's one of those converted outfielders like Dave Steve. And he fouls it off out of play. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Randy Bacchus.
Matter of fact, Kite, he was compared a lot with Steve in the year 1984 when with Vermont. He went 14-3 with a 1.5 earned run average, and at one time during the year he was 11-0. And that was when he was with the Cincinnati organization. The Reds called him up a couple of years later. Had a couple of good years with Cincinnati and then was traded to St. Louis. 1-1 pitch, and Aldrete fouls it off. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Never hear of a pitcher that was a guy that used to play second base. You know, it's always an outfielder.
Or they had to have that sidearm delivery like Quisenberry.
Or a first baseman.
No, Rick Honeycutt, he was a first baseman.
Jose Oquendo.
Jose pitched 4 innings in relief earlier this year, and he's the first guy since Rocky Colavito to have a decision as a position player turned pitcher. 2 balls, 2 strikes. The count to Mike Aldrete. 5-0 our score. San Francisco leading the Cardinals. St. Louis won games 1 and 2 of this series, and the Giants won yesterday in the 9th inning 6-5. Pitch by Terry. Swing and a miss, and down goes Aldrete. And there's Scott Terry's first strikeout of the game.
This Giants telecast is brought to you in part by Bud Light. Everything else is just a light.
Here's third baseman Ernest Riles, and if things stand as they are, he would have the game-winning RBI. He drove in the Giants' first 2 runs. First one came in the 2nd inning after Candy Maldonado had tripled. Aldrete walked, and then Riles reached base on a 6-4 fielder's choice. Drove in the run. He's behind the count. No balls, 1 strike. And takes it low. 1 ball, 1 strike. You know, I was taking a look at the comparisons of Ernest Riles' numbers with the departed Jeffrey Leonard, the man he was traded for, and Riles has really kept pace with Jeffrey. Fouled off. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
That's pretty interesting, because you would definitely think Leonard, being more of a power hitter, would put up a lot more numbers offensively, but that hasn't been the case, huh?
Riles has 1 home run to Jeffrey's 4. 10 RBIs to Jeffrey's 20, but Riles is hitting .292 and Leonard just hitting .220. Pitches inside. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And Riles gives Roger Craig a great deal of flexibility on the infield. He can play third, short, second base. Riles with a high hopper to Oquendo. He grabs it on the 2nd hop and throws out Ernest Riles. 2 outs here in the 6th.
Seen a lot of high hoppers today. And that comes from the type of pitcher that's out on the mound, especially Rick Rushell. He likes to keep the ball down, more of a sinker. Takes a lot off his fastballs, and consequently you're going to see a lot of hitters beat that ball off of the hard dirt in front of home plate.
Bob Melvin with a ground ball to Ozzie Smith. 1-2-3, the quick score for Scott Terry, and at the end of 5 1/2 innings, it's the Giants 5 and the Cardinals nothing.
Leave it to the good hands, people.
Recognition. It's not something you get every day, which is what made this morning so different for the Youngs, whose car is usually parked right here. This morning, however, they're down at Allstate getting a special reward, a discount of up to 15% off their car insurance for having Allstate home insurance and excellent driving records. Find out how your home can now help you save on your car. Ask for the Allstate Auto Advantage. Another reason.
Now let me see. Big selection. No waiting. What else? Oh, yes, the big savings on Corolla FX options packages. And Camry, too. I could just get over there. Hurry home! Well done, man. Carry on. Oh, no. You can save big on Camry options packages, too. So...
Toyota's really big sales event. It only happens once a year, and it's happening now.
No.
Michael Dean Clark is wanted for the brutal murder of his sister-in-law. Help track him down. Watch America's Most Wanted.
Sunday at 8 on Channel 2.
Kids, on Monday, July 25th, we've got something to cheer about. First call, 15 and under fans will receive a statuette of a Giants player. Then at 7:35, cheer the Giants as they battle the Dodgers. Tickets on sale now by calling your local Teletron number. Again, that's tomorrow, and it should be an outstanding series. Fernando Valenzuela going against Kelly Downs tomorrow at 5 o'clock. And then on Tuesday, Oral Hershiser and Tim Belcher meet the Giants, Mulholland and Don Robinson, and that will be in that Tri-Night doubleheader that begins at 5:30. On Wednesday, Tim Leary, with a record of 9-6 against Atlee Hammaker. He is 4-3. That will be a 7:35 contest. Here we've got Rick Rushell on the mound. He's working on a shutout. He's given up just 3 hits in 5 innings of work, and the last time he claimed a victory here at Busch Stadium was June 17th of last year when he played for the Pittsburgh Pirates. And it was a typical Rick Rushell performance. 9 innings, 8 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, and 7 strikeouts.
Left fielder, Vince Coleman. Dodgers have taken the lead 2-1 over the Pirates. Should mention, Steve, that Monday night, tomorrow night, is ABC will be doing the game out of San Francisco, and then Tuesday the doubleheader will have on Giants Vision, as well as Wednesday.
Both games of that doubleheader? Oh, that'll be great. So I can sit in the studios at Channel 2 and listen to Dwayne and Joe.
Joe's got to work all 4 games. I
tell you,
that's great.
I love listening to you guys. You guys crack me up. Here's the bunt by Vince Coleman. They get him. Nice play by Bobby Melvin. Man, he came back from behind his catching spot, and that backs up to throw out Coleman. And Vince will not even argue.
Watch Melvin. He cannot waste any time. He has to make a decision whether he thinks the ball is going to go fair or foul. And he said, hey, I can't wait. I got to go for it right now, and makes a good, strong throw to Will.
Boy, he beat him just by a half step. And here's Ozzie Smith, and he hits one hard but foul at strike 1. Ozzie's 0 for 2. He popped up to shallow right field, and Candy Maldonado just made a spectacular catch in right field. That was in the first, and then he grounded out hard to the second baseman, Chris Fire, in inning number 4. Breaking pitch misses. 1 ball, 1 strike. We have 1 out. 5-0 our score. San Francisco leading.
Talking to Bob Kennedy, in charge of the minor leagues for the Giants yesterday, and he was saying that of all the players in the major leagues right now, Ozzie Smith has improved over the course of his career offensively more than any other player that he has seen. Bob went on to say that you know, when Ozzie originally was a member of the Padres, his first couple of years he was an automatic out.
And he hits the ball to center field. Brett Butler is right there and makes the catch. And you know, I just opened up the press guide. I'm taking a look at his numbers in San Diego, and right you are, Dwayne. 211 in 1979, 230 in San Diego. And get this with St. Louis the last 5 years, 243, then 257 in 84. 1985, it's 276, 86, 280, and last year 303. So it's almost like a step ladder. Going up every year. Here's Willie McGee. Did Bob Kennedy talk about why he's been able to do that?
Said he just really worked at it. And the hard work obviously has paid off, because he no longer is an automatic out. He really makes the pitcher work. Dude, he's got 32 stolen bases. And we definitely know what kind of shortstop he is.
1-1 pitch to Willie McGee up high. 2 balls, 1 strike.
You can't call him a complete player because he doesn't hit the ball out of the park. But as a shortstop, he's a complete player.
Lined hard but foul. 2-2. And did he not have the same workout specialist as Will Clark?
I think he did. One of those guys that really pushed him in the offseason to get a little bit stronger. I think Ozzie is using a heavier bat than he started out with.
Foul off by McGee. Count stays the same. 2 balls, 2 strikes with 2 outs. Well, he muscled up for home run number 3 yesterday against Joe Price. Ground ball. Chris Spire, easy play, and Rick Russell continues to mow down St. Louis. Ron Fairley, Dwayne Kuyper will be coming back for 7, 8, 9 as the Giants holding on to a 5-0 lead over St. Louis here at Busch Stadium.
You know what this party needs? Buzz McKenzie.
Super party animal. Come on, baby, do it now, Buzz McKenzie. His name is Buzz McKenzie. Oh, party, party. With the party feeling right. A cold Bud Light puts you in a party frenzy.
Buzz McKenzie, party's right with only Bud Light. He knows everything else is just a light.
Go, Buzz, go.
Buzz gives motion to the ocean.
If your house is starting to look like a warehouse, come to Public Storage. If you're moving and your old furniture doesn't fit into your new lifestyle, come to Public Storage. Public Storage, America's largest self-storage company. We rent spaces by the month for anything from business records to bedroom sets. You store it, you lock it, you keep the key. Public Storage, open 7 days. Rent now, and $1 pays your first month's rent. For the location nearest you, call 1-800-44-STORE.
Public Storage. Offer ends July 31st.
McDonald's has a great new chicken sandwich. Just one? They ought to make more than that. Might catch on. No, not just one. Good. I'd like to try it. It's great. Take it from me. Generous of you. Thanks. I didn't mean... All white breast meat, light crispy coating, and a zesty sauce. This is terrific. I know.
Try McDonald's new McChicken sandwich.
Now save $3 per person on admission to Marine World Africa USA and support your local Ronald McDonald House. Pick up your family discount coupon today at participating McDonald's.
Back at Busch Stadium, Giants leading 5-0. Rick Russell throwing 6 shutout innings. There's the skipper of the Giants, Roger Craig. Roger's mind at some point on this Sunday afternoon will turn to the Los Angeles Dodgers as they will be coming into town for 4 games. They lead the Pirates right now 2-1, and that's in the 7th inning. Scott Terry has been on the mound for the St. Louis Cardinals. He will begin his 2nd inning of relief. He retired the Giants in order in the 6th inning. Here in the 7th, it'll be Jose Uribe, the pitcher spot, Rick Russell, and leadoff hitter Brett Butler. And back over from KMBR, here's Ron Fairley.
Okay, thank you very much. As we go here in the 7th inning, Giants on top, as Dwayne just mentioning, by a score of 5-0. And the right-hander Terry on the mound. Jose Uribe to lead things off. He's 1 for 2. He singled and scored his last time up. Giants trying to win the final game of this road trip. And if they do, they will come home with a 4-7 record. Just about backwards of what they'd like it to have been. First pitch, high and outside, ball 1.
But if you look at it real close, Ron, after winning the 2 games in Chicago, now you're starting to feel pretty good. And then dropping the next 2 to the Cardinals, you're starting to think, boy, this trip really is going to be a disaster.
Fly ball into shallow center field. McGee, and that was out number 1.
So the win yesterday was a big one. And, of course, although this one certainly isn't over yet, it would definitely make the plane ride back home a lot easier to take.
Here's Big Daddy coming to the plate. He's 0 for 1, sacrificed his last time up. Well, the thing that I kind of like about it is that, assuming now, and of course there's still a lot of baseball left, and 5 runs not that much against this team, the St. Louis Cardinals. But if they can hold on and win here, to have won the last 2 games as they get ready to go into that series against the Dodgers, that's going to be a big series coming up starting tomorrow. Back up the middle. Ozzie Smith. 2 men gone.
Rick Russell pitches quickly and hits quickly.
You got to like that. Here's Butler coming to the plate. Right now, I would probably say one of the big plays, the difference in this game, was the decision by Bill Fahey in the 5th inning holding up Jose Uribe at third when Spire singled into right field. Because one of the jobs as the third base coach, and that is to know who the on-deck hitter is. And there's strike one. And Fahey, knowing that Clark was the on-deck hitter, Uribe, who has good speed, but I think if they would have sent him in the inning, Ford would have been able to throw him out at the plate easily because he made a very good and a very accurate throw. The 0-1 pitch. And that is low, 1-1. But by holding him up, Clark able to come to the plate, and on 3 balls and no strikes, hitting the home run, the 3-run homer. And that really has been the big blow in this game. And a very good decision by Fahey.
And you won't see it in the box score.
Never see that there. Into right field, Ford is there to take care of Butler. 1, 2, 3 innings. 6 in a row set down by Terry. And after 6.5 innings of play, Giants still on top by 5.
Something smart has happened to the new Pacific Bell Yellow Pages.
Our house is a very, very, very fine house with 2 cats in the yard.
Now you can find anything for your house by letting our new one-page index lead you to a whole room full of choices.
Now everything is easy because of you.
The brand new Pacific Bell Smart Yellow Pages. It's smarter to do it by the book.
Chocolate is crunchy when it crunches. That's why I love Nancy Crunch. Milk chocolate, that's creamy. Blending crispy, so dreamy. Gotta have it, it's so scrumptious. Love that chocolate when it crunches. Chocolate is scrumptious when it crunches. That's why I love Nancy Crunch.
Saturday, July 30th, it's Mother's Cookies Trading Card Day. The good news is the cards are all Giants. The bad news is you don't get any gum.
Well, kids, you can learn how the pros do it at the Giants Baseball Clinic. You can catch the upcoming clinics on July 26th at Red Morton Park in Redwood City from 1 to 2 p.m. And then on July 28th at Nevada High School from 11 to 12 o'clock noon. And then on August 2nd at Washington Park in Burlingame from 2 to 3 p.m. For more details, call the Giants Community Services at 415-468-3700. That number one more time, 468-3700. There's Bill Fahey sitting next to Bobby Lillis and Norm Sherry, but a very good decision by Fahey in that 5th inning holding Jose Uribe. And I tell you what, I can't say enough good about that because you have to, as a coach, know where you are in the game and what players are coming up and doing what and what guy is capable of breaking the game open for you.
Well, you can also go back to the 2nd inning where he sent Mike Aldrete on Bob Melvin's double.
First pitch to Laga is low for ball 1.
And I can set it up for you a little bit. Men on 1st and 3rd. There's 2 outs. Melvin, the hitter, and he hits one that looks like may clear the bases, but instead of holding up Aldrete, who was a base runner at first, he sends him.
Easy play for somebody. Either one of them can make it, and it'll be Maldonado.
If Fahey stops Aldrete, Melvin's going to be on 2nd. Aldrete's going to be on 3rd. The 8th hitter, Uribe, is going to be the hitter. They're going to walk him to get to Russell. Why not take a chance?
A little confusion in there in the outfield, but they're able to get that taken care of. As we said, either one of them could have made the play. Generally speaking, the center fielder is the captain out there. But so long as somebody hollers and someone takes charge. Here is Terry Pettilin. He is 0 for 2.
Now, Big Daddy not wasting any time. He's definitely going right after him. And He's maybe going after him with, who knows, an 82-mile-an-hour fastball.
He's going to show them something different. But I think what you're saying, and we have mentioned this all year long about Rick Russell, and that is you don't have to go out there and try to overpower everybody every pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike. You have to be able to use your pitches, show them a good fastball, change speeds. A bit high, 2-1.
You could almost take...
But more importantly, throw strikes.
You can almost take any game that Rick Russell throws, have it on tape, and show it to every kid that comes into the organization and say, now, look at the stuff this guy's got. It's not great, but he's got a chance to win 20 games every year.
Well, he's shooting for number 13 here today, and he's leading 5-0. Hit well to center field, big part of the ballpark. And Butler with room. 2 men gone. 6 in a row set down by Russell, and you can see him using this ballpark. Now, it's only 330 down the line, which is pretty standard. But in center field here in St. Louis, 414 feet, 383 in the alley. And so it is really a big ballpark, and it doesn't carry that well in those directions. And throwing fastballs up and out over the plate, saying if you can hit it over the center field fence, you can have it. And Ford hooks 1 foul down the right field side.
Yeah, I went to a movie last night. It was called The Dead Pool. That's pretty much the dead pool out there.
How'd you like to play 4 or 5 years and have the strength of the power of Mays or McCovey to shortstop? And Uribe makes it a 1-2-3 inning. Russell setting down the last 7 that he's faced. We go to the 8th inning. Giants leading by a score of 5-0.
Run a light here?
If you want the one light that outshines them all, ask for Bud Light.
Let me know when you're ready for another round.
Because everything else is just a light.
There are many roads to the great American meal. But the shortest one takes you to Sizzler for great Northwest crab, spicy Santa Fe steak, Cajun giant fried shrimp, or a taste of all 3. Our new American Sampler platters. 6,000 miles of great American cooking just around the corner. Sizzler.
Cut loose in a cutlass, and leave the world behind.
Cut loose in an Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme. Today's Oldsmobile. Cut loose in a Cutlass Sierra. Get on the road to the future. Cut loose in a new Cutlass Calais. Live it now. The new breed of Oldsmobiles. A breed apart.
Cut loose in a cutlass, and leave the world behind.
Drive one at your Oldsmobile dealer today. We dare you.
For those of you that are familiar with St. Louis, you know what you're looking at, and that is the gateway to the west. The Arch here in St. Louis. It is a beautiful structure right next to the Mississippi River and not far from Busch Stadium where we are today. With the Giants leading by a score of 5-0, we go to the Giants half of the 8th inning. Whitey Herzog not too pleased with things right now. He's trying to figure out how to score some runs off of Rick Russell. In the meantime, the Giants have solved Jose De Leon. Riles with 2 RBIs and Will Clark with a mammoth home run to right field to score the runs for San Francisco today. And Clark now with 22 home runs in the year, 74 runs driven in overall. And here in the inning, it will be Spire, Clark, and Maldonado. Spire 1 for 3. Singled his last time up and scored. Do you have some scores?
Yeah, that score in Pittsburgh is still the same. The Dodgers are leading the Pirates 2-1. They're in the 7th inning. Philadelphia, Houston, no score in the 6th.
In the hole at shortstop. Great stop by Oz. Look out. He can do it. And he did it again. Holy cow. If you wonder why they call him the Oz, the Wizard at shortstop, just take a look at the replay.
Chris Fire hits this ball in the hole, and he knows that Ozzie Smith has come up with this ball. Can he throw him out? You bet he can, and he likes it.
I don't know of anybody that can hit the ground and get up quicker than Ozzie Smith.
And he gets up on both feet, throws that one hopper. Laga digs it out. That's a tough AB for Chris Fire.
Boy, you're leaving the batter's box, you can smell a base hit. And then all of a sudden you're out. You're back in the dugout. Here is Clark. And he hits one hard up the middle, and this one will get through. So Clark, with a turn at first base, has his second base hit of the game. And here is Candy Maldonado. He is 2 for 3.
Well, Will Clark not wasting any time. Gets a breaking ball. Slaps it hard right up the middle. Smart hitting. Keep it away from Ozzie.
Yeah, that's one guy you don't want to hit it near. Gee, that's nice. Yeah, that's great to see guys make plays like that. Not so great if you're the hitter, though.
I was going to say, I've seen a few players make plays like that.
And you're looking at me. Yeah, you're looking at me, aren't you? You dirty rat. Maldonado takes one inside. You used to laugh at me, didn't you?
You used to didn't think that was too great, I got to tell you.
One ball, no strikes.
Listen for all those sounds down the runway. Usually a helmet, never a bat.
Broken bat roller toward shortstop. The shuffle, and Clark taking the runner out. Look out. Here we go. Look out. And here come both dugouts.
Well, we're going to have a good one here. Once it was 4-on-1, and Will Clark was the number 1, you knew that this was going to be ugly. And I don't blame him.
You have both dugouts, both teams out there, and we may not be finished with this one.
Candy Maldonado was the guy that took a shot at Ozzie Smith.
Ozzie tried to take a sucker punch at Clark, too.
And Brenly is going to go after Ozzie. These two do not care for each other anyway.
Both teams trying to hold back their respective players, but I still think we may have something else going on out there.
Ozzie's still pouting off.
Well, here's where a lot of words are exchanged, because you can say whatever you want to right now, knowing that everybody is going to hold you back so you can say what you want.
Ozzie's got a good bloody lip right there.
Then somebody got it. And if we see it on the replay, was it Ozzie who took the first swing? Now, Clark slid in hard at second base. Earlier in this series, a couple of games ago, yesterday, Robbie Thompson was spiked at second base, and he got banged up a little bit and couldn't play. And Clark going in at second base hard today. Let's see it on the replay.
Ron, if you throw him, you better expect to get some. Clark doing his job. Yeah, Oquendo doesn't like it. I didn't like it either.
Okay, and look at it right here. And look, see Oquendo hitting Clark in the helmet. And there goes the sucker punch from behind by Ozzie.
And if, like I said, if you're going to throw him,
Ozzie in there again.
If you're going to throw him, you better expect to get one. And here comes Maldonado.
Good for Candy. 3 sucker punches by Ozzie. I don't know. I guess it depends upon what side you're on right here.
Well, I don't like to see 4-on-1. And right now, Oquendo's going to give him a little knee. And then
hey, look at that. He kicked him once.
And anytime a guy is outnumbered, and I don't care what team you're on, I'm going to go for the underdog.
Yeah, I am too.
And Will Clark right there was the underdog.
You got to protect your players, your own team.
And I got to tell you something. Candy Maldonado just jumped up pretty high on my list.
Yes, he did.
You know, these clubs have been waiting to do this for a long time. And just about the time you think they're starting to get along, this happens.
And right now, the umpires are going to make a decision. We may have a couple of guys ejected from the game, and Herzog not too happy. Ozzie Smith may be one of them. We'll have to wait and see.
Well, I'd like to see a couple of our guys in this discussion.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. We don't know just yet, but we just may have a couple of players ejected.
I guarantee you Roger's going to have his say-so.
But you know what? In looking at that play, Clark did not slide dirty. I guess Ozzie's going to stay in the game. That's fine. That's fine. Let him play. But Clark did not slide with spikes up. He just slid to break up the double play. Yeah, he slid hard.
Hey, I didn't like it either.
But you have to slide hard if you're going to take the guy out on the double play. There's no spikes up there. See, legs bent. It's just that Oquendo doesn't like it. So the umpires are going to have a discussion, and they're going to have to figure out something, and they're probably going to warn both dugouts.
If you play second base and if you play shortstop, you have to expect that. And if you don't like it, then play another position.
And the thing about it is if all the other players know you don't like it, you're going to swing at it harder. And I guess it is Oquendo that will be ejected from the game because he started things by first kicking Clark and then pushing him in on the helmet.
And I think they're going to ask
and maybe Clark
to leave the game
yeah,
as
well, okay, I understand that too. And Roger's going to argue, and he's going to do something here, and he'll have to wait and see. I'm not too sure he's going to be happy. But I guarantee you somebody is going to write something down. And now here comes Ozzie Smith off. And we'll wait and see whether he goes back on the field or not. Or just what it is.
He may be going in for some repairs. That's Frank Pulley, who Roger Craig is talking to.
Well, the umpires have to come in and they have to stop it.
Yep, and Ozzie's getting some...
Yeah, they have to stop it.
He's getting some ice on his lips.
And we're going to have Lawless come in, and he is going to take over someplace, whether it is at second base, and Roger is gone. Or is it Clark?
Roger tried to kick dirt on Frank Pulley. Pretty tough to kick dirt when you're on turf.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to do that.
But that may have been just an anger.
Well, the umpires are in a tough situation. You have both dugouts are mad, and I don't care what decision you make, someone is going to holler and scream. So you're going to be catching it one place or the other. But this is where the umpires have got to stop it. They've already had that little ruckus out there, and you don't need any more. So you have to stop it now.
And that's fine. Generally, you'll see umpires do a great job.
Yeah, they do a good job at that.
When it comes to...
Because they're 4 against about 50.
That's right. And remember, we're sitting in a house full of people right here.
Ozzie Smith is going back out at shortstop. Here it is one more time. And you be the judge as Clark slides in and runs Kendo out of the way. And then there comes a little kick from Clark and then slaps the helmet. And Clark doesn't like it, and there's Ozzie coming in.
Watch a good duck by Clark.
He misses, yeah.
And here comes Candy Maldonado.
And Ozzie trying to come in again, and Ozzie getting in there, and there's a Kendo.
And there's your cleanup hitter right there.
And who came in from the left?
Looked like Pendleton.
Was that Aldretti?
Well, Pendleton was the Cardinal. I didn't catch the Giant. Yeah, you play good, hard baseball, and sometimes that's what happens. Cardinals have been going hard in the second, and so have the Giants.
There's nothing wrong with that. As we have said, you just don't go in with your spikes up, that's all. There's ball one to Andretti.